Everyone, thank you for being here live for this 12 holy nights, this energy secrets of the holy nights, the 13 sacred self days. All right, so every year, this is a tradition here at transCODES, I guide you with these deeper spiritual considerations or contemplations through the days. They used to call them the 12 days of Christmas. We now know that it's actually 13 days, but 12 nights. And so this year we're focusing on these sacred, these holy nights in between the days, and discuss the spiritual realities that we are surrounded by, that is underlying all of our experiences, and end with a contemplation and an energy alignment here at the end of this video recording to tune ourselves into sort of what these different cosmic forces are that are involved in creating this opportunity for us to experience our higher self here in the material. Yeah? Very, very tiny part of our overall journey, as we will find out. Our overall journey as conscious soul selves. My name is Jona Bryndis, and that is what I do. I'm a spiritual counselor and coach, and help people through their physical experiences. Here in the background, you see my higher self, my younger self, guiding me through our talks here. So today, in this third of the holy nights, we want to spend a little bit more thought and also sort of internalization to what we learned yesterday. Yesterday I talked about the spirit world that surrounds us and how our true self forms a bridge between this material experience and, well, the spiritual reality first, the spiritual reality of ourselves, which is that we are actually a spirit being that is having a physical experience. This is a very important prerequisite to even enter this discussion, because for as long as we see ourselves as just a body with, like a birth and a death, it's very difficult for us to make sense of any of these things that we are discussing here. We are discussing the subtle nature, the spiritual nature of our being and our journey, which includes immaterial things such as love and peace and happiness, and goals which have to do with a certain understanding of cultivation and development. So when we look at the spiritual reality of life and all that exists, what we will find first is that there is something like an as above, so below, or as in micro, as in macro, okay? As an ex-scientist, that's really the pathway that I had to discover my own spiritual identity. I came from a place where I wasn't preoccupied by religious way of thinking, which had positive and negative effects on me. I wasn't preoccupied, as I said, so it didn't have to be in a certain way. But it was also harder for me in that way, that I had to accomplish, I had to figure this all out by myself. Now, looking at my spiritual biography, that's exactly what my higher self picked for me. Yeah? I have to figure it out for myself. I have to own it fully. And for that I am grateful, even though my physical, psychological biography was filled with tragedy and drama and negative experiences at first. All right, so this is the part that makes us want to become spiritual, if you will. Yeah, it is the suffering and the struggle with the physical experience that creates the desire to seek for answers, to seek for making sense of what it is that we are experiencing. And this is basically the impulse, from your higher self, to investigate this. So if you are completely and solely bound to the physical experience, you will interpret all that happens to you as sort of a either randomized luck thing, okay? Or if you have a, say, religious or a spiritual preconception that there is some kind of higher power there that predetermines it all for you, you will see yourself as subjected to a higher power that does things to you. In short, your life will feel, or it will make you feel powerless. It will make you feel that life is just happening to you. And this is the struggle that we are experiencing in our life. The struggle is to make sense of the things that are happening to us as part of our own choosing. So today's main message is to recognize that there will be things in our life, challenges, struggles, sufferings, the darkness that will enter our life, that we will have to learn to overcome. And we all know that already. We all have our share of darkness, of, struggle in our lives. But to recognize that it is our higher self that picks those for us so that we can go through a specific kind of, training, if you will, learning experience that allows us to make more sense, to be able to fully own our experience as part of a greater plan. The trick with higher consciousness and soul development is that we recognize that it is not some kind of external higher power, personified, but it is the higher power in us, which we learn to call our higher self, that picks those lessons for us with a purpose, with a plan. So today's contemplation has to do with how we deal with our challenges, how we work through them. We all intellectually know that, every experience is a learning experience, and that what doesn't kill us make us stronger, or something along those lines. That we grow with every challenge, that it forms resilience in us, that it forms a deeper understanding of ourselves. But what we still fail to see in the macro is that it also helps us to navigate the bigger reality there is. So what is that bigger reality? I called it the cosmic forces, or the cosmic reality. It's the larger forces that we are subjected to, that we have to deal with, okay? Whether it's day and night, or lunar cycles, or weather, or your family dynamics. You probably had quite a bit of this here in these last couple of days. Whether it's your tribal identification, your traditions, your sort of nationality, or even your identifications as a spiritual person within whichever communities you are, being present. It's to learn to bring it into the understanding of what is being learned through these experiences. Yeah. To move out of this place of life is just happening to me, to life is happening through me. I am life. I am bringing life into this world, into this physical reality. The question is, what's my agenda? Okay, so while we see life as happening to us, while we see ourselves powerless, the agenda is what? To survive, to just get through it. And that's where we get caught in fear and anger, because it doesn't seem to make sense. God's mysterious ways don't seem to make sense to us because it's so unfair, right? It's unjust. Why does this happen to me and not to them? I'm a good person. Yeah? Why do I have to suffer this and they have all the luck in the world? It doesn't make sense. So we see ourselves separate from others, and we still operate with judgments that look at sort of the convenience level or the comfort level of our experiences. We still, just want the good experiences. Even spirituality is infused with this feel-good spirituality. New Age is all just about tuning into divine bliss, so that we don't have to experience the discomfort of life. That is the task, guys. When you grow in consciousness, the task is to recognize that it is your pain, that it is your challenges and your struggles that deliver the impulse from your higher self, the higher power in you, to grow, to overcome, to consciously overcome. Yeah, this is what we do here in this community and with training courses and individual sessions and so forth. We learn to make sense. We learn to navigate the deeper reality underneath our physical, our 3D experiences. Not by mystifying it, not by assuming or judging, but by looking into the spiritual reality of them. And that is our individual journey. That is what we all do as sort of individual soul self on our journey to forming our consciousness soul, our spiritual ID. But then when it comes to the macro, we often lose this understanding that the human soul, the human collective as a whole is going through a development as well. Which means that just like how we have different physical stages of development, other people are at different stages of soul development. Just because we have a certain understanding of ourselves and our journey that does not match up maybe with how the people, or some people in our life, or the majority of people in our life see. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with us or them. It doesn't mean that there's a separation. That would be like complaining about that the world is populated with too many children. That children are future humans. Unconscious souls are future conscious souls. So there is this understanding that we have to go through certain things as individual and also through certain things as a collective. And when we use this and go a step further and apply this to cosmic understanding, then we can also recognize that our entire planet is going through through a developmental journey. And maybe our own solar system as well. Okay? For most of us, this is beyond what we can imagine. But it is important that we remind ourselves that there is a higher power at work, a higher plan for all of these different stages, for all of these different layers of reality. And just the fact that there's a plan doesn't mean that it's predetermined. This is where most people get into this philosophical sort of controversy of free will versus destiny. There is no contradiction, guys. It's just like how our human development as in our physical, gives all humans the potential to develop, into the highest form of the physical body. But not all bodies do. Okay? And that doesn't mean that, that it was predetermined. We get stuck with the DNA and so forth. Yeah, this is also something that we will have to revise here in the near future. Yeah, this has to do with all of us having to having to bring a different task into this world. And so for some of us, it's more important to develop this aspect or that aspect or that task or that task. And the same for our different tribal collectives. Yeah, for some of our, sort of tribal or folk souls, say in the European or Middle European world, the developmental task is to become more inclusive, but without sacrificing your own identity. For, let's say, the Anglo-American collective, it's important to go through, the individualization, away from, the forefathers, so to speak, but without trying to overpower the forefathers or the, what sort of the previous sort of nationalities that the American collective is composed of brought into it. Yeah, for some other nations or folk nations, okay, it's important to develop a proper feeling for, their own being and their own, sensuality and their own, desires and so forth. So we all have, as individuals, our journey, as families, as sort of tribal collectives, as nations, and as planets, if you will. Yeah? If you start seeing this as sort of a layered reality, the micro mirrors the macro, okay, you begin to understand your own journey better. All right, and so we're standing at the precipice of 2025 right now with so many transformations going on everywhere. But we're not really seeing what the purpose is, what the task is. We have wars here and there, and we have all these conspiracies and all the collusion and the power grabbing, and all this is going on, and yet we still haven't fully understood what the task is. The task is to overcome separation. The task is to unify with the underlying reality that we are all human souls. Just like how I said Christ came for all humans. It's not a religion. I call it a historic event, all right, in the collective soul development of humanity that brought the ability to form our own spiritual ID, our own spiritual identities. It's much bigger than we can think this up, guys. It's much bigger than religion. Religion is a human construct, okay? So there's a bigger tasking there, and once you begin to change your view of your life from this pure physical into a physical reality that is the outer expression of an inner spiritual developmental journey. When you begin to see everybody else as a true self with their developmental journey, first in your life, your relationships, then in your tribe, okay, then in your, human identity. Now you begin to understand, okay, that there's many different sort of developmental cycles going on simultaneously that you as an individual have to go through as well. So everything you are going through is what is happening for the greater reality of things, is what your entire nation has to go through, what your entire human collective has to go through. So part of the tasking here in our time, where you and I and all of us here try to make sense of our own being, try to explore and connect with our journey. We want to know what is going on. We want to figure this out. Why? Because we can. Okay? In this time, all right, is also where we recognize for the first time how stupid it is that we are separating ourselves from others. And you may disagree with me here, because most of you complain about that there's so few spiritual people out there, or conscious people say, and that it feels lonely. But that is your task right now, to overcome this. See, first you had to individualize and form your own spirituality. Now you have to bring it back into the world. Now you have to translate it with others. And tribally, collectively, that means we have to start overcoming the separation between our nations, between our religions. That's the task. Oh, you may say, oh, humans have always, done wars and conquering and overpowering. Yeah, sure. But we are in the end of this right now, guys, because it no longer makes sense. It is no longer about conquering and resources and overpowering only on the surface level, guys. There's a spiritual reality underneath all these wars, underneath all this tribalism and nationalism that is going on right now. You got to understand this. And on the level of the spiritual hierarchies that we are exploring here, this is the level of the Archangels. It's one step higher in the spiritual hierarchies than the angels. Yesterday we talked about the angels and the guardian angels. That's basically our next developmental stage that we're working towards to. And once the angel state, refines and cultivates, okay, what I'm teaching here right now, the full understanding that there's a spiritual process underneath all of the outer physical experiences. An angel can advance to become an archangel. The angel has to guide other humans through the journey multiple times, our guardian angels. We talked about this yesterday, how we can connect with our guardian angels, how we can feed them, how we can help them to fulfill their task. For example, by just simply talking to them, by just simply sending our love to them, thanking them for accompanying us. And with it also all the souls that went through this journey before us. They're all standing behind us, guys. All standing behind us. We can call them spirit guides, we can call them guardian angels. Doesn't matter. Once you begin to see the spirit world, you begin to see that, what we imagine as angels, with the wings and all that, it's just a tiny little part of that. The spirit world is full with spirit beings. Okay, so our job is to recognize that they too have a task. Okay, and as we are connecting with our true self, as we are connecting with our higher self, as we're connecting with our guardian angel, we are basically connecting with the translator here. We're connecting with our personal guide that helps us to communicate with the spirit world, that helps us to connect with the greater reality underneath our own journey. Now that's the job of our angels, to translate, to transcode. Okay? And those are the messengers of the spirit world for us. And their supervisors, yeah, their higher pay grade, are the archangels. The archangels are the ones that no longer reign or no longer work with an individual human soul self, but a tribal collective, a folk soul, if you will. Yeah. So in my case, I belong to the folk soul group of Scandinavians and Northern Europeans. Okay, that's just through my ancestry. Okay, but in my DNA ancestry. Okay, but it had an imprint on me as I was born into this. Yeah, the way I see the world, the way I see myself as a woman, as a mother, was imprinted by the folk soul that I was born into. Okay, the way I form language, the way I connect with language, and it so happened in my life, my personal karmic journey, yeah, that my higher self picked for me, that I lived in many different countries. And I had to look at my own inner programming from so many different perspectives throughout my own spiritual and physical biography, that it became crystal clear to me, crystal clear, what I had to learn. Okay, so I thank my higher self every day and my guardian angel to have led me through all these challenges, because they allowed me to discern. They allowed me to understand my journey. They allowed me to refine and to cultivate from a deep, deep level, not because somebody told me that it is the right thing to do. No, from a deep, deep inner level. I internalized it through my own biography. That no matter where you're from, no matter what country, nation, folk, soul you are from, you belong to, you are a wonderful soul self that is awakening to its own spiritual ID. Okay? And your job is to overcome these individual things such as gender, such as nation, language, religion. Yeah, that's our job. That is what the archangels manage. That is what they bring into our life as an impulse. And you wouldn't be here in this international community if you hadn't already felt this in you in some ways. So the reason why I'm talking about this here now in conjunction with these holy nights and the deeper inner journey is to make it more aware to you what it is that your own spiritual biography is expressing, to make more sense of your own journey, including why you were born as a male or female, why you were born into the family that you were born into, why you were born into the country, the language, and all the culture that comes with that. Archangels help us to refine our language. And so whenever you feel the impulse to work with your critical inner voice or your negative inner self-talk, send a little thank you note to the archangel that is guiding, this development in you. Okay, and connect. wisdom. Understand what it is that you got to learn through having been born into this nation, in this language, in this culture. Okay? And that is your signpost. That's your tasking for this lifetime. Your higher self conspired with all these different spiritual hierarchies to provide this experience, this learning experience for you, so that you can grow beyond these challenges. So let me summarize this here for you and form sort of the contemplation for today. Okay, the contemplation for today has to do with honoring your journey and this higher power, this plan that I talked about, that helps you to not only clear all these negative impulses or seemingly negative impulses that you receive, or that the challenges, the struggles, the suffering, that's what I mean, that from any source in your life, be it, the sickness or poverty or lack or loss, or, being a woman or being a man or being this or not having gone to college or whatever, okay? Yeah. Negative influences from any source in your life. Honor them as your tasking, because those are the ones that give you the courage. Archangels come in with courage and strength for the next phase, for the next growth experience. Honor them. And if it helps you, recognize the spiritual hierarchy that is managing this for you. I know that some of you live in countries where you have to go through very specific issues, that only your country or your region has to go through. And we often talk about this in our online meditations here in our free community meetings. Especially nowadays with social media, where news and all these sort of memes and so forth travel around the world in light speed almost. We can see this now. We can understand this better now. We never knew what was going on in other countries or how they contextualize it. We can see it now, guys. Learn to overcome the separation. Learn to overcome whatever challenge you experience through, having been born into this physical life. All right? That is your path. I hope that the alignment that is following this little lecture here, this little contemplation, helps you to tune into this tonight. So this is the task for you, for your conscious, holy night, sacred night contemplation. What is the task, the spiritual task, underneath all these negative influences, these challenges in life? How am I growing through these so that we can make more sense, have more courage, more strength, and less resistance, less judgment toward all that we are going through as individuals and as a whole human soul collective, if you will. I love you guys. I see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Enjoy this third of the holy night. Higher power. I am one with my true self, the part in me that is unchanging, eternal, and infinite, the messenger of divine consciousness and true spiritual thinking. I recognize the presence of higher power expressing through the promptings of my true self. It comes to me as sacred life force and divine love, and reminds me of higher power in me, even if I have become unconscious and asleep. I herewith dedicate this sacred self moment to honor the powers that protect and guide me, and that help me to feel this higher power as grace in my heart at all times. I honor the higher power that helps me to clear all negative influences from any source within and around me and my family and home, that cleanses me and gives me the courage and strength for the next phase of my life. Guide me along my highest path of greatest good and show me the way. I honor the higher power of healing to heal me on all levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and etherically, throughout all time frames and dimensions. Return my body, soul, and spirit to wholeness and balance. I honor the higher power of perception that brings me messages, guidance, hope, and inspirations that are perfect for me right now, in perfect ways, so that I will have all the loving guidance that I need right now. I honor the higher power of beauty and joy to lift my spirits and that of others, and bring me joy, happiness, love, laughter, lightness of the heart, and love for life. I further honor the higher power of consciousness to purify my spirit and my life, and allow me to be a pure channel of divine love and thus service for others. Bless my life in the highest and most appropriate ways. I honor the power of inner peace to heal, harmonize, and bless all the relationships in my life, so that I may spread greater harmony, love, and light upon the earth wherever I go. And lastly, I honor the higher power of abundance to bring me all that I need for this journey through life, and shower me with appropriate abundance and wealth in all areas of my life, so that I may serve fully, and so that I can express divine light in me in this world.